Cool. Well, come on in, take over. Do some stuff. Here we go. Oh, that's interesting. It's just like that. Hello, Annie. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, let's see. How do I do this? Yeah. Regular life is hard, but you need to try your time. Lost you into your kindness. I'm good. I'm tired. Hello, Luis.
Yeah. Oh, this is me, I guess.
Yeah.
Can she hear us?
I hope. Anna Monica, can you hear?
Oh, she can't see us.
Oh, wait. Carlos, can you give Anna Monica a scan for Saladana?
A scan?
Well, he can scan with the phone.
You see us?
Oh. Yes, very
It's Rosalie and Eric and Annie and Luis. And your name is? Helen. I got Helen. And is that
Hi,
Damien?
friends.
There's Damien. Damien.
Thank you.
Where are you?
I'm at my mom's. In Madrid.
Carlos, is it still?
Hola, Lara.
Can you turn the audio off?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Denise.
So for those of you, oh, it's interesting. Where Denise, what are you doing in the computer? You were here last week. And Dominique, I thought you were coming. There we go. Laura, congratulations.
Thank you.
We need a way of, you know, I wonder if you put it, what if you put it right here? Oh, there?
Hi, Martina.
See if that works better. Kind of. You can see a couple people, but
Yeah.
except as soon as I make it so they can see me, it's gonna fall.
Just put it back.
Or maybe what about this guy?
Might be too steep. Yeah, too lean back.
Yeah.
So I'll just use. Is this now fixed? You won't touch it anymore? Then just put it there. That should work. Yeah.
So there's Martina. Martina is in Cercedia.
Hi, Martina.
Lara from Italy is not with us, which is too bad. Well, hello. So it's funny. It's funny. I'm kind of like, I look at the computer even though I have real live people in front of me. At one time, when I was in college many decades ago, I took a class on nonverbal communication, and I learned a lot from that class, including the importance that we pay to phones. Now, back then, they had cables. There was a cable, and it connected to a phone. But if you were talking to somebody and the phone rang, you would go answer the phone. You'd make the person wait who was real in order to pick up the phone. And it's kind of a similar thing. We're like, this is real, and you guys are an illusion. Which might be so anyways, I don't know. Anyways, thank you for being, oh, there you are. Laura, I wanted to thank you so much for your message and for your contribution. Thank you so much. Okay, so as some of you know, I'm actually in a retreat right now. You wouldn't know that. With Bhikkhu Analio, and I'm learning a lot from this retreat, and so I want to try to impart that as well here. And last week we decided that we would this week go to feelings, and okay, I don't use the word feelings because that conjures up, well, feelings. We'll use the more kind of specific feeling tone of pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So we're going to do a little meditation. The beginning part of the meditation will be based on that. But then I'm going to review a little bit on death again, because I learned a lot more about his view on death. And I felt like I shortchanged us last week on death. So we'll have a little guidance on Vedana, which is the Pali word for feeling tone. And I'll explain what that is in a minute. And then we'll have the rest of our meditation, and we'll talk a little bit about death, right? And you, once I explain it, I think this time you'll go, yeah, that was a good thing to talk about. And then we'll talk more about feeling tone. And I'm sort of tracking the retreat that I'm on this way. So for the meditation, and who is anybody new to meditation? Okay. Oh wait, who raised your hand? Anna Monica? Oh, Martina did. Yeah, doing the app for the Polish country. She's new to. So the second foundation of mindfulness, there are 4 foundations of mindfulness, and the Satipatthana is what it's called. The second foundation of mindfulness is feeling tone. And what that is the brain's immediate natural response to decide, is this good, bad, or just nothing? Neither. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And neuroscientists have figured out that this is happening constantly, nonstop by the brain. We can't stop it. It's what the brain does to regulate the body. It anticipates, is this something dangerous? Oh, better pick up the heartbeat, better expand the lungs. You know, we're going to have to fight or flight or flee. Or is this something good? Oh, we want to eat it. Or maybe that's a mate or something. So it's regulating the body by deciding, is this good for me, bad for me, or is it just neutral? The Buddha understood this without any sort of brain scans or anything 2,600 years ago. And so they made it the second foundation of mindfulness, because they saw if the brain thinks, oh, that's good, immediately there's going to be grasping, clinging, greed, I want it, right? Or if it's bad, and a lot of times the mind is just making it up. It doesn't really mean that it's bad. The mind thinks it is. Then there's aversion, ill will, hate. So to be more in the present moment, to be more with our experience as things really are, we learn to be mindful of this grasping and pushing away that the mind automatically does. So this is the practice of the second foundation of mindfulness. So the way Analio teaches it as a practice is, again, we're going to do body scans. We're going to do 3 body scans like we've been doing for the other things. And we're going to look first for pleasant in the body. And then we're going to come up and we're going to look for unpleasant in the body. And then we're going to go down and we're going to look for neutral or just boring. And then we will open up to whatever practice you like, but keeping in the back of your mind, when something is pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, how does your mind react? If it's pleasant, do you go, oh God, I want to feel more of that? If it's unpleasant, like, ooh, I want to get away from that. If it's neither, do you like get bored? Does your mind wander? You know, like that. Is that clear? Any questions? No? Okay. For those of you who are somewhat new, normally I don't give so much instruction at the beginning, but this time I thought it was warranted. So we're going to meditate for 30 minutes. And here we go. So first and foremost, let's find a comfortable posture. Bhikkhu Analayo likes to say, find a posture where the mind or awareness will rest in the body like the body is resting on the cushion or the chair or the bench or whatever you're sitting on. So we just kind of plop, in a way, our awareness, our consciousness, our mindfulness into the body, create an embodied presence. For some people, this is quite easy, and for others, not so easy. If you're having a little difficulty finding the body, you can go to the contact points where the body is touching the cushion or the floor. Just feel those contact points. You may also have a practice of using the breath as an anchor for the awareness. Very common. Of course, the breath is in the body. Takes the mind into the body. You can also use sounds, hearing, process of hearing to embody the presence. Any one of the sense doors will do that. So now we'll start our first body scan. So let's start with the head. Just feel your head and notice if there's anything pleasant in your field of awareness, your field of perception. And going to the neck, feeling the neck. Anything pleasant? Going to your left shoulder, your left shoulder. Anything pleasant in the left shoulder? The upper arm. The lower arm. Anything pleasant? Most likely there won't be. That's quite all right. It's the matter of observing and looking that we're trying to train. So going to the left hand. Noticing for anything pleasant. The right shoulder. Pleasant. Upper arm. The lower arm. The hand. And it's tingling in the hand. It could be pleasant. Now moving to the torso, upper front torso, the chest. The lower front torso. Upper back torso. Pleasant. Lower back torso. Let's try the right hip. Feeling the right hip. Anything pleasant? Upper leg. Lower leg. Right foot. Go to the left hip. Feel the hip. Upper leg. Lower leg. The foot. Now we're going to go back up the body. This time we are aware of unpleasant sensation or experience. Starting with the right foot. Anything unpleasant? Lower leg, upper leg, hip. On the left foot, anything unpleasant? Lower leg, upper leg, hip. Lower back, upper back, lower belly, chest. So noticing anything that's unpleasant. Let's go to the left hand. Unpleasant. Lower arm, upper arm, shoulder, right hand, unpleasant, lower arm, upper arm, shoulder, the neck, and the head. Anything unpleasant in the head? Finally, our last scan will be neutral. Now, this may be the most common experience you have, but just to see if we can be aware of it, identify neutral. Starting with the head, neutral merely meaning it's not obviously pleasant or unpleasant. And neck, right shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, hand, neutral, left shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, left hand, neutral sensation, neutral experience. Upper torso, front torso, chest area, neutral. Lower front torso, upper back torso, lower back torso, neutral. Let's try our hips. Hips often have a neutral to positive, pleasant tone to me. Let's try the left hip. Feel it. Neutral. Upper leg. Lower leg. Foot. Right hip. Neutral. Upper leg. Lower leg. Foot. Now just allow the body scan to fade away. But keep in the back of your awareness this discernment of pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral as you continue to practice using whatever anchor you normally use. Could be the body, could be the breath, could be sounds, could be a mantra. All the time being aware of the Vedana, the feeling tone of your experience. and thoughts also could impact the Vedana, the feeling tone. You have pleasant thoughts, unpleasant, or neutral. So in these final couple moments of our formal practice, let's return to the body, reestablishing embodied awareness and embodied presence. Maybe imagining you can infuse or fill your entire body up with awareness, with consciousness. If you're willing, bringing your awareness to your heart center, to your chest area, near the heart, and thanking yourself for your practice, for taking time out to care for yourself in this way and caring for others as well. This is probably nothing better we can do to care for others, be of service to others, to love others, and to care for ourselves first. And imagining you can radiate out this care, this metta, loving kindness, benevolencia, in all directions, picking up everybody meditating together here, whether it be from their home or here in Saladana, and then beyond. And when you hear the sound of the bell, just be aware of the Vedana, the feeling tone. What is the reaction in the body or the mind? Is it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? The sound, the reaction. That was interesting. Ace, I'm gonna mute you. Well, thank you, everyone. I see a couple people joined us afterwards. We did a second foundation of mindfulness practice, a feeling tone practice. And so I'm kind of curious how that was for people. Some people dig that one, and other people not so much. And some people are neutral. So if anybody wants to share or they have a question about it, including you folks on Zoom. In fact, if you guys ask a question, I'm pretty sure it'll come out of the speakers in Saladana, so everybody will be able to hear. No? Okay. So we will get back to this topic. But I thought first we'll go back to muerte, go back to death. And just for those of you who weren't here last week, so Bhikkhu Analayo, who's this amazing scholar monk, lives in the US now. He's originally from Germany, speaks many languages. Lately he's been studying Italian, so his Spanish and his Italian have sort of merged. So he speaks I don't know, Italian or something. That he speaks Pali and he reads Pali. the language that the teachings of the Buddha were originally written down in I believe Sanskrit as well, and Chinese. And his gig has been to try to figure out what did the Buddha originally say and mean. Calls it early Buddhism. And then he tries to teach from those teachings, those early Buddhist teachings. And so he's put together what he thinks are the most important teachings in a wheel that has 7 spokes. And the first 4 spokes are the the 4 foundations of mindfulness, satipatthana. The first one is body. Second one is what we did today, the feeling tone. The third one are mental formations, sankharas. And the fourth one is called dhammas, which are the teachings. Dhamma means a lot of words, but it's the teachings and the lists. And then he selected out of that group 2 lists that he considers most important: the hindrances, the obstaculos that prevent us from being present, and then the 7 factors of awakening. So does that, no, and the reason that didn't add up to 7 is because he takes the body and he breaks the body up into 3 groups: anatomical parts, elements, the 4 traditional elements, and then muerte, death. So that's his body. And then he goes to feeling tone. So if you have 3 of those, 3, that equals 8. Am I not counting that? Okay. Anatomical parts, elements, muerte, feelings, sankharas, that's 5. Oh, and then 2, right, 2 of the 4th foundation of mindfulness. That's how you get to 7. So on muerte, on death, we talked about it last week. And in fact, there were some really, I thought, some really nice contributing comments about death. But in the retreat I'm in, so we're on death like today and tomorrow. And so I heard more of what he had to say about it, and I read more about it. And I thought this was important to impart. Because he even said this in this video. He said, if he was asked, you have to study and teach only one of the teachings of the Buddha, one meditation style, what would it be? He said death. Of all the ones he could have chosen, he chose death. And the reason is because he believes that by being prepared for death, we can achieve what they call the deathless, which is another word for nibbana. And he also believes, and he's not alone in this, that when we no longer are afraid of death, we let go of one of the primary frictions that go on within the human body, which is the one side of us that knows we're gonna die, and the other part of us that doesn't want to die, right? Like animals, at some level, they don't have this, I know I'm gonna die, probably, maybe, but they definitely want to live, right? But maybe they're kind of free and they're just trying to live because they're not really that aware of the death part, but we are. So he cited a study called something like terror management, where we human beings, we either, and Alex did this last week, we either say, this isn't going to happen to me, you didn't do that. This isn't going to happen to me, or it isn't going to happen to me now. It's going to happen to me way in the future, right? So we usually have one of these 2 defense mechanisms. Either we just deny it at all, this isn't going to happen, or it's way down the road. It's decades from now. I'm going to live a long time.
Which is the same thing. You just saying,
Yeah, not happening to me now, or not happening. Period. Something that not this isn't going to happen to me. It doesn't apply to me, or it's not going to happen to me. So they're very similar, but slightly different. And this apparently is how human beings manage this terror that can come up when we think about, that we're going to die. So his thought is, he goes, if you're going to take an important exam, or if you're going to do a major athletic event or something like that, you don't start prepping for it the day before. You start prepping for it, years even maybe, or months before. Well, why not with death as well? Let's get ready now, right? Let's get to the point where we're totally acceptant of death now. And so he teaches these practices to do this. And then he points out some other very important things. If I'm going to die like today or tomorrow, or you guys are, I'm probably going to behave in the most present, kind, compassionate, loving way that I can right now, right? I'm also going to live my life to the fullest. And I mean, in a way, I've seen how this practice has shifted my perception. Like, I'm here in Spain. This is where I want to be. I love living here, right? And I'm not that, close to death, but I could go anytime. Sometimes on my bicycle, I think it's going to be today. Just like I take turns, or I don't know what the hell's on the other side of it, and I just do that. It's kind of stupid, but that's what I do. I haven't been vaccinated yet. I do. And so, there's even been books written about this, right? One Year to Live by Stephen Levine, and others, about being as present as we can with the idea that this might be my last moment, right? Just imagine how we would live life if that were so. And so his idea is to cultivate this in part to achieve that kind of presence, that kind of living, that kind of open-heartedness. I mean, when I think of my two children, I have two daughters, and I just adore them. My God, if this was my last moment, how present I would want to be with them. That's the kind of presence I want to bring to them all the time, because it might just happen. I could go. Let me check my Kindle notes here to make sure I didn't miss anything. It's funny, this retreat is in Spanish, but this book is so beautiful. I have not wanted to mark it up or anything. So I go to the English one, and then, of course, I can erase it with this thing. 1 second here. Yeah, so he says it in slightly different words, but in the face of our mortality, how should we live our lives in such a way that we can die without regrets? Without regrets. I mean, that's probably how we want to go, right? Maybe I said this, but I'll say it in his words. Recollection of death is not only a preparation for dying, but also a way of coming fully alive, being aware of our own mortality and that of others. So not only our own mortality, but that of others. Like my mother, for me to remind myself that she's probably closer than me, and to do my best being present with her. Being aware of our own mortality and that of others makes it unmistakably clear that the present moment is the only time when we can live. It goes on. By facing our own shadow of death instead of running away from it, we gradually become whole. This is actually a process of healing by allowing death to become an integral part of our life. Death is inseparable from life. Ignoring its existence, we can never live fully. He's like really into this. Not mincing any words, right? So anyways, I thought that was important. And just because we contemplate death, just because we practice accepting death, doesn't mean we're going to die right now, right? It just kind of shifts. So much of this is just about perspective, right? It's just about our point of view. It's just about how we see the world, our perception. And this particular shift, I think he thinks, is the most important one that he's found in Buddhism. Is this idea that we could go with this breath, this could be the last one. In that case, how am I going to live? You know, and as I told you guys last, you know, he sleeps in a coffin. He sleeps in a coffin. And next to his meditation pillow is a skeleton. You know, he's like really. Anyway. Okay, so I won't say anything more about that so we can have an intro on Vedana, on feeling tones. But is there anybody who wants to say anything about death? Anybody want to say anything about death or about these teachings? Come on, say something so we can see how our speakers work.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we could hear you okay.
I have a friend I don't know very well, but he posted that his partner went in for a routine something or other and didn't come out. And it's interesting that you talk about this today, because in his sharing about it, he wrote, "There were so many little ways I could have made her life more joyful each day, but didn't make the effort. Now I'll never have the chance. This is my greatest regret." And it's exactly that. And he's sharing this because, as he writes, "I hope others might give their best to the bright lights in their life and learn from my mistake." So it's just exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that person, and that's exactly right, right? I mean, that's just right on what we don't want. And it's sad. It's going to be sad no matter how prepared we are. But, just to be a little bit personal. So my dad died when I was 27 years old. He had a cerebral aneurysm. He died, he was 54. But he and I were in a fight at that time, typical kind of, I don't know, I was still like a teenager, pushing him away, not accepting him, and him trying to, be with me the way best he could. But I wrote a really mean letter to him. He responded by saying, I don't agree with you, but I love you anyways. And before I could respond back, he died. Oh my God. The grief that I felt was guilt for so long, much more than the loss, I think, was the guilt I felt, the sadness, the regret for what I felt. So yeah, thank you, Anna Monica. That I feel for. Is this someone I know, or is anyone else? And the speakers work great, by the way.
Jim,
Yes, yeah, Lara.
yeah, I think I am among those in denial. I feel that I pretend it's not going to happen, or because I find it really overwhelming. And I know it sounds silly to pretend that it's not happening, because intellectually I know, but emotionally I can't go too close to it. And last Sunday when we were practicing, you said, if you feel that it's too much, you can, come out. Like, I stopped it almost straight away. I think I stayed maybe, I don't know, a couple of minutes. And then I found it too intense for me, for my level of friendship with death. How do you suggest that one comes when you are in ground -10 like me? How do you suggest that one, befriends this?
Yes. Well, first, a little bit at a time, right? Poco a poco. But I wouldn't let it go. I would keep trying. And Analio's meditation can be found on YouTube if you use YouTube. So you can find it directly from him, a guided meditation. And I would just keep kind of trying it, keep cultivating it. I mean, I don't practice his method so often, very rarely do I. But I have been a student of this idea of like 1 year to live, or this could be the last breath for some number of years now. And it has improved my life a lot. In part, just the letting go, not needing to cling on to things. What's the point? I can't bring them to my grave. So you could talk to, well, my family and stuff, how generous I've been to them in terms of giving away stuff. I never could have done this before this practice. You know, I would have been one of those miserly guys who took it all right into the coffin with him, you know, if I could. So lots of benefits, but it's a slow, gradual thing, like all the trainings. It's another training. It's another training of the mind, and the mind is pliable, right? The mind can be trained, can be taught. But like I think you showed very wise, skillful effort last week where you went, it wasn't so good, so you back off. And then you just try it again, you back off, and then you should be able to stay with it a little bit longer and a little bit longer and like that. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Okay, well, we have a couple minutes to at least introduce the Vedana. If there's nobody else who wants to talk about death, really it's about life, right? Because it's almost talk about death. It sounds really kind of, you should talk about life because death is a part of life. We can't separate the two, right? There's a joke, I think it was one of the Spirit Rock teachers, as he says, the greatest cause of death is birth. Right? Yeah. Okay. Put you guys back on the gallery. Oh, Nacho, I thought you were teaching a retreat. Are you teaching a retreat or you're on a break, maybe?
I just came back.
Oh, how did it go? I hope it went well.
It went amazingly well, but I'm so tired. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, so to just touch on a little bit of feeling tone. Okay, so this is kind of sort of interesting. So this is what we have to go on from the original teachings of the Buddha, as far as we know, right? So this is from the Satipatthana, which is the 4 establishments of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Sati being the word for mindful, how we interpret it, and then Patthana being the foundation. So the instruction, the first part of the instruction for contemplation of feeling proceeds as follows. When feeling a pleasant feeling, one knows, I feel a pleasant feeling. When feeling a painful feeling, one knows, I feel a painful feeling. When feeling a neutral feeling, one knows, I feel a neutral feeling. It's pretty straightforward, right? And this is so much, it's kind of funny to me, but at the same time, it's so much what this practice is about. It's about knowing. It's about bare knowing. As much as we are able to, which some people think is not at all, right? Some people think that the way our brains are made in the mind, that because of our perceptions, our causes and conditions, our beliefs, all of this stuff, that we never can really know anything truly as it is. We're always putting our stuff on whatever it is. But arguably, the practice, the goal is to try to peel this stuff away and get to know things directly as they truly are. That's the goal. right? Bare knowing. That's what mindfulness in Spanish. I love how they sometimes they'll say atención plena, or there's another one, Cabo. I remember it's Cabo something. Cabo's either first or second, but it's just like this absolute bare knowing without interference from all of our stuff, right? And so that's the same thing that they're trying to do here. And the neuroscientists, they say that Vedana happens in like 1,000th of a second. So we're talking about a very short period of time where it's almost impossible to, control it. It is, you can't control it, but it's happening just so fast. Boom, the mind is immediately, and what's interesting also about the mind is the mind doesn't wait until the thing comes. That would be too long. It's already predicting, right, the future so that it can be ready in the present. So in the past, it's predicting the future so we can be ready in the present. So it's already adding all this stuff that it remembers. It's kind of sort of similar, like walking down the street. We walked down another street when it was raining, so it brings all that stuff up, and then that creates our experience, all this other stuff. So we never can be exactly sure what we're seeing, how much of it has got to do with the past and how much of it has to do with the present. But the idea is to see things more and more clearly with more and more mindfulness, less and less of this stuff. And then we become aware of the reaction, or let's call it the anti-reaction, right before the reaction, so that we can control or influence the reaction. Because this is really what happens, right, is we react to things. Something can seem unpleasant, and then we're going to react, and probably in a way that is disproportionate to what is actually happening, because we brought all this stuff from the past and laid it on top of it. So it's 203 times more powerful than it really is to be. Yeah.
I find this practice funny sometimes because I feel like it's like instead of just being with the experience, I feel like it forces me to go into my mind and have my label the experience in a really mindful way.
Yeah.
Like it felt a bit like conflicted, like at the end when you rang the bell. I could feel how I related to the bell. And it's like if I was forcing myself to create a mind label about whether that was pleasant or not. And it felt very mind-based. Yeah. And it seems a bit funny to kind of bring that over the experience,
I totally hear what you're saying. And, most, in my opinion, most of the teachings, the way Analio teaches them, are kind of like that. There's a lot of conceptualizing. There's a lot of words. But the fact of the matter is that your brain, your mind has already responded to this. And so the bare knowing becomes when you can become aware of what your body did involuntarily, without any influence, without you thinking about it. It's already responded. And then it's seen. So right now we're adding stuff because we're not accustomed to doing that. But with time, the words start to drop away. We become aware. We become aware of this natural reaction of the mind. Because the mind's doing it whether we like it or not. The mind's doing it whether we think about it or not. And then we just become aware of what the mind is doing. And this takes time. It takes practice. And eventually, because like you'll see when you get into a, let's say you get into a meditative kind of state where you'll start to see that you don't need to use words, that just the energy of intention is enough. I don't know if this explains it very well, but it's almost like the recognition is just this bubble of energy comes up, and you don't actually have to say, oh, pleasant or unpleasant. You just know. There's just kind of this energy of acknowledgement. And then you don't have to go through the thought process.
Okay, so you think like that's kind of maybe what my question is it feels a bit forced.
Right.
Like I can feel the experience. I'm there. I'm with it. I feel that. It's
Yeah.
happening. And then I'm like, kind of
You don't need to say.
Resistingly, like, oh, you guys have to label this.
Yeah, and you don't have to label it. You could just notice it. Just notice whatever it was, and you don't even have to label. But the labeling is a very good tool. It's good. In the old days, to teach kids how to ride a bike. Before we had training wheels, right? Now they just have mini bikes. We had training wheels, and the labels are like training wheels to help us get accustomed to it. But then after a while, you just drop it, and you just know. I think that might be all the time. Yeah, that is. I actually love this topic because this particular teaching. Well, first of all, like in the 5 aggregates, you know, the Buddha talks about all phenomena is only comprised, all conditional phenomena is only comprised of 5 aggregates. This is the second one. This is form. After form, wow, material, then you got Vedana. That's so important. It is. And now the neuroscientists are able to track it. So we'll talk about it more next week. Okay. Okay. So we'll do a little short metta meditation. Is anybody new to metta, loving kindness? Are you new to it? Okay, so this one is one where we actually do use words. Eventually, even this one you get away from words, eventually way down the road. But we start off with phrases, and we'll say them to ourselves, and then we'll say them to a neutral group or somebody we like, and to somebody we're having troubles with, and then to all beings. And we usually end our group this way. And I have unpleasant feeling tones in both knees, so I'm going to. Okay. So in this one, we definitely want a comfortable posture. So we're not trying to radiate out our unpleasant feeling tone. Create pleasant feeling tone. So I'm going to repeat some phrases, and you guys can repeat them inside your head, or for those of you at home, you can even say them out loud if you want. Nobody will be bothered. So starting with I, may I be happy. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Hopefully at some point we finish those and we'll be left with a pleasant feeling to it. So now let's go to someone or some being who you really just love and adore. No complications, might be a grandparent or a pet, or could be a public figure, even the Buddha. And imagine offering that being metta. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Just feel that in the body. Hopefully that will enable us to do the next group, which is often called the difficult person. So in this group, bring to mind somebody where there's maybe a little bit of resentment on your part or a little hurt. Maybe somebody did or didn't do something that you wanted. Take a moment, bring somebody to mind. And let's see if we can offer metta to that person or being. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Finally, all beings in all directions without exception. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. And finally, let's dedicate the merit of our practice today, the teachings, our Buddha nature, and our Sangha. Dedicate this out to the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war and violence, discrimination, racism, and free from coronavirus. And may all beings get the vaccine. And may all beings find their perspective, their point of view that leads to the end of their suffering. May all beings be free. Thank you all very much. This was quite a treat. It's like a balanced, see, there's 8 of you, and I think about a little more than maybe, well, there's me. Yeah, there's 8 of you there. Oh, how nice. Oh, that's balanced. You have some equanimidad, there's some equilibrio. Yeah. I am, because I'm playing hooky in a way from this retreat. I want to kind of get back to my house, but next week, if you want, we can somehow figure out where we could have a big, I don't know, circle or something we can all share together. But tonight, maybe not. It's so good to see some of you. I hope to see you in person real soon. And good to see you, Anna Monica. I guess you're at your mother's or your brother's or some others. Nice. And just quickly, Jose, where are you going? Okay. No. Just quick talk about dana, which is the act of generosity or giving. And that's how everything at Saladana is run. We charge for nothing. And we also have expenses. And so if you want to make donation to Saladana, that's welcome. There are 2 boxes out there. When I'm teaching, you can just, if you want to make a donation, you don't have to. Put it in the Saladana box. The other one for teachers is when somebody else is here. But for me, just to the Saladana box, it'd be always appreciated. And yeah, Josie's going to teach something pretty soon here. When is that going to happen? Espanol or English? Or mixed? Spanglish. Really? Wow. So Josie is taking a class with Christopher Titmus, sweetie. And she's, I guess, towards the end where you need to. So either be Wednesday or Thursday. You can pick. Nacho, I'm going to need to move you and Hel 30 minutes forward on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, start at 6, finish 7:30. Is that okay?
Jim, you want to turn lights